Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the stories we're looking at tonight. A follow-up on the latest homicide, a bizarre story of stolen ID, and a CEO for Juan Louis. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, we know a little bit more about the latest homicide case on St. Croix. 35-year-old St. Thomas native O'Neill Mooley has possibly lived long enough to tell police who shot him. News Channel 8's Wes Small has that story plus another crime as well.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. I'd like to do a brief look at the crime blotter. First of all, police are still investigating that homicide that took the life of 35-year-old O'Neill Mooley, better known as Tully. He was 35 years old. You might remember he was shot and killed in the area of Frederickstead, over there by those bars and restaurants directly across the street from the vegetable market. So far, we know that police responded to that scene. We believe that Mr. Mooley was hit about 6 times, at least 8 bullet casings in the area. I just got off the phone with Police Chief Oakland Benta a little while ago, and he's still going through the search warrant, the warrant procedure legally, as they're closing in on their suspect. Meanwhile, if you know anything about this case, you should call 712-6077-911, or you can call 1-800-222-TIPS, 1-800-222-8477. I need to tell you that Mr. Mooley's killing is the 33rd so far for the year, territory-wide. We have 11 murders on St. Croix. There's been 21 on St. Thomas and 1 on St. John. I can tell you this. It looks like homicides are being solved a lot quicker, at least, if that's any solace for us in our territory. As a matter of fact, as we move on to another case, the neighbors are getting involved. The community is fighting back. I can certainly tell you that burglaries are definitely on the rise. We have 2 male minors that are now in custody from yesterday. They were in a State Glen, seen going through someone's house. Neighbors got together, alerted police, and then actually went on a foot chase as they chased these 2 minors through the gut, through the bushes, finally getting these minors in custody. A case of neighbors helping neighbors, community fighting back and saying enough is enough. So now you're up to date a little bit, at least, on the crime blotter, that murder that happened in Frederickstead. Police Chief Benta assures me that within a few hours we should be looking at an arrest. Meanwhile, we do have 2 minors in custody, neighbors getting together and putting a stop to their dastardly deeds yesterday in a State Glen. Here at Anselmo Marshall Command in Christiansted, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
In other news tonight, a bizarre story coming out of St. Thomas. Police have a man in custody for identity theft. Here's the kicker. He stole a little girl's ID. News Channel 8's Lee Carl reports from St. Thomas.
Well, this story has the echoes of a black and white thriller on TCM, Turner Classic Movies, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Who is the man and what is his identity? And how is it that he lived among us and worked among us for so many years and we never knew? He's listed by the authorities now as Blake Lee Wright. 49-year-old hospital ground man here has been arrested and charged with using a young girl's identity. Now, it may well be that this has been involved in a child custody, a 5-year-old child, according to an affidavit filed by agents of the Justice Department. Apparently, a social worker here at Human Services thought there was something wrong here. So she contacted the Social Security Administration because the number he gave was turned up to be not in their system. Actually, the number turned out to be issued to a female child who was born Blake Lee Wright, born in Sturgis, South Dakota. So the rest of the story runs like this. As police continue to investigate the crime and determine the true identity of the man who goes by the name of Blakey Lee Wright, actually it's spelled B-L-A-Y-K-E, VI Superior Court Magistrate Judge Alan Smith ordered he be held on $20,000 cash bail. The crime brought to light, as we mentioned, by a social worker here at Human Services who is involved in a child custody matter between Bright and the mother of Bright's 5-year-old child. Affidavit filed by the agents from the Department of Justice, William Curtis, said the social worker said she was directed by Human Services to conduct a home study of Bright and the child's mother, that during the investigation, the identification showed up provided by Blake Lee Wright, indicating his date of birth at August 7, 1959, his Social Security number. Now, the social worker then contacted Social Security, as I mentioned, to verify Wright's information, and was told the name Blake Lee Wright, August 7, 1959, was not in their system, but the Social Security number was. We'll have to wait and see as the investigation is underway. In St. Thomas at Human Services, Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee. And the Juan Louis Hospital on St. Croix has a new acting CEO. Miss Doris Plaskett seems to be the logical choice for the St. Croix Hospital's top position. News Channel 8's Wes Small has more.
Ms. Doris Plaskett was formally installed as acting chief executive officer at Juan Louis Hospital. That came yesterday during a meeting of the St. Croix District Governing Board of Directors. Ms. Plaskett was unanimously voted in to replace outgoing CEO Gregory Calise. You might remember he officially resigned earlier this month to pursue a job in a 500-bed facility in New York City. Now, Calise will stay at his position until around mid-October, but Miss Doris Plaskett, she is no stranger to being the director of Juan Louis, because when Mr. Calise was away from his job, Ms. Plaskett took over. She unanimously was chosen last night, so she definitely has the board on her side. Now I suppose the next step would be to go through the legislature so she could be official. So for now, Mr. Reese Plaskett is the acting CEO of Juan Louis Hospital. And I could tell you that Ms. Plaskett has been very outspoken about certain things here, especially the dialysis center. That's a major concern in our territory, especially with the rising cases of diabetes and how it could lead to kidney failure. So for now, it's Miss Doris Plaskett that is at the head of Juan Louis Hospital. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. Police Commissioner Novell Francis has implemented the Police Officers of the Month program once again. Here's police spokesperson Melody Rames to tell us a little bit more about the heroic men and women in blue.
Police Commissioner Designee Novell E. Francis Jr. is proud to announce the revival of the Police Officer of the Month program. This initiative is in keeping with his intentions to improve the morale of police officers by recognizing and commending their service to the Virgin Islands community. Officers of the month for May include St. Thomas Police Officer Gigi Alexander, St. Croix Detective Corporal Jose Silva, and for St. John Detective Cassandra Vincent. Officers of the month for June includes St. Thomas Detective Dwight Griffith, St. Croix Police Officer Gregory Benerson Jr., and for St. John, Police Officer Richard Dominguez. These officers have displayed dedication, commitment, bravery, and are the exemplification of the concept of service above self.
Your lottery numbers and a beautiful lady who could ask for more. That's up next on News Channel 8.